In a world that is constantly connected, filled with noise and bustling with activity, the idea of being alone can seem intimidating, even frightening. Society often glorifies social interaction and equates being alone with loneliness, sadness, or inadequacy. However, the art of being alone challenges this narrative by presenting solitude not as something to be feared, but as an opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and inner peace. The book explores how solitude, when embraced, can lead to a richer and more fulfilling life. It encourages readers to view alone time not as a sign of isolation or rejection, but as a sacred space where one can connect with their true self. By shifting our perspective on solitude, we can learn to enjoy our own company, find joy in quiet moments, and ultimately cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace and contentment. In this summary, we will take you through the key insights and practices from the art of being alone, helping you understand the profound benefits of solitude and guiding you on a journey towards self-love, inner peace, and creative fulfillment. Chapter 1: Understanding Loneliness. The first chapter of The Art of Being Alone delves into the concept of loneliness, a feeling that many of us have experienced at some point in our lives. Loneliness is often misunderstood as merely the absence of other people, but the book explains that it is much more complex than that. Loneliness is a state of mind, a sense of disconnect, of being misunderstood, or of lacking meaningful connection, even when surrounded by others. The book highlights the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a negative emotional response to being alone, characterized by feelings of emptiness, sadness, and longing for connection. Solitude, on the other hand, is a positive state of being alone, where one feels content, peaceful, and fulfilled in their own company. The chapter explores the root causes of loneliness, which can include a lack of self-acceptance, unresolved emotional wounds, and societal pressures that stigmatize being alone. It also discusses how technology and social media, while connecting us in many ways, can exacerbate feelings of loneliness by creating a false sense of connection and fostering a culture of comparison. Understanding loneliness is the first step toward transforming it into solitude. The book encourages readers to confront their feelings of loneliness head-on, rather than avoiding them or masking them with distractions. By acknowledging and understanding these feelings, we can begin to heal the emotional wounds that contribute to loneliness and move toward a more positive relationship with solitude. Key takeaway from this chapter is that loneliness is not simply a result of being alone, but a reflection of our inner state. By addressing the underlying causes of loneliness, we can begin to transform it into a fulfilling and enriching experience of solitude. Chapter 2: The Benefits of Being Alone. Chapter 2 explores the numerous benefits of spending time alone, which are often overlooked in a society that prioritizes social interaction. The book argues that solitude offers a unique opportunity for self-discovery, personal growth, and creative expression, benefits that are difficult to achieve when we are constantly surrounded by others. One of the primary benefits of being alone is the ability to connect with oneself on a deeper level. When we are alone, we have the space to reflect on our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without external distractions or influences. This self-reflection allows us to gain clarity about who we are, what we want, and what is truly important to us. It also provides an opportunity to process our emotions, heal from past experiences, and develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. The book also discusses how solitude can enhance creativity. Many artists, writers, and thinkers have found that their most profound insights and creative breakthroughs occur during periods of solitude. When we are alone, our minds are free to wander, explore new ideas, and make connections that might not be possible in the midst of social interaction. Solitude provides the mental space needed for deep thinking and creative problem-solving. Another benefit of being alone is the opportunity to recharge and replenish our energy. Social interactions, while enjoyable, can be draining, especially for introverts or those who are sensitive to external stimuli. Solitude allows us to retreat from the demands of the outside world and focus on self-care. It provides a chance to rest, relax, and rejuvenate, helping us to maintain our emotional and physical well-being. The chapter also touches on the importance of independence and self-sufficiency. Spending time alone teaches us to rely on ourselves for happiness and fulfillment, rather than depending on others. This sense of independence is empowering and can lead to greater confidence and resilience in all areas of life. Key takeaway from this chapter is that solitude offers numerous benefits, including self-discovery, creativity, and rejuvenation. By embracing alone time, we can enhance our well-being and lead a more fulfilling and authentic life. Chapter 3. Overcoming the Fear of Solitude. In Chapter 3, the book addresses a common barrier to enjoying solitude: fear of being alone. For many people, the idea of spending time alone can be daunting, triggering feelings of anxiety, discomfort, or even panic. This fear often stems from societal conditioning, past experiences, or deep-seated insecurities. The book explains that the fear of solitude is often rooted in a fear of facing oneself. When we are alone, we are confronted with our thoughts, emotions, and inner struggles, things that are easy to avoid when we are distracted by the presence of others. This can be uncomfortable, especially if we have unresolved issues or negative self-perception. However, the book emphasizes that facing these fears is essential for personal growth and healing. The first step in overcoming the fear of solitude is to acknowledge it without judgment. By recognizing and accepting our fear, we can begin to understand its origins and address the underlying issues. The chapter provides practical strategies for gradually overcoming the fear of being alone. One approach is to start with small, manageable periods of solitude and gradually increase the amount of time spent alone. This allows us to build confidence and become more comfortable with our own company. Another strategy is to use mindfulness and meditation to stay present and grounded during periods of solitude. These practices help us observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. By cultivating a mindful awareness of the present moment, we can learn to find peace and contentment in solitude. The book also suggests reframing our perspective on solitude. Instead of viewing it as a lonely or isolating experience, we can choose to see it as an opportunity for self-care, self-discovery, and personal growth. By changing the way we think about being alone, we can transform fear into curiosity and appreciation. The key takeaway from this chapter is that overcoming the fear of solitude is a process that requires patience, self-compassion, and practice. By facing our fears and gradually increasing our comfort with being alone, we can unlock the many benefits of solitude and develop a deeper sense of inner peace. Chapter 4. Building a relationship with yourself. Chapter 4 focuses on the importance of building a strong and healthy relationship with yourself, which is the foundation for a fulfilling experience of solitude. The book argues that just as we invest time and energy into building relationships with others, we must also invest in our relationship with ourselves. The first step in building a relationship with yourself is self-awareness. The book emphasizes the importance of understanding your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Self-awareness allows you to identify your needs, desires, and values, and to make choices that align with them. It also helps you recognize patterns in your behavior that may be holding you back or causing you distress. The chapter provides practical exercises for increasing self-awareness, such as journaling, self-reflection, and mindfulness practices. By regularly taking the time to reflect on your thoughts and experiences, you can gain deeper insights into yourself and develop a stronger sense of self-understanding. Another key aspect of building a relationship with yourself is self-acceptance. The book explains that self-acceptance involves embracing all aspects of yourself, including your strengths and weaknesses, your successes and failures. It means recognizing that you are worthy of love and respect just as you are, without needing to change or conform to others' expectations. Self-acceptance is closely tied to self-compassion, which is the practice of treating yourself with kindness and understanding, especially in difficult times. The book encourages readers to practice self-compassion by speaking to themselves in a gentle and supportive way and by offering themselves the same care and consideration that they would offer to a friend. The chapter also discusses the importance of self-care in building a relationship with yourself. Self-care involves taking intentional actions to nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. This might include activities such as exercise, healthy eating, relaxation, and pursuing hobbies that bring you joy. The key takeaway from this chapter is that building a relationship with yourself is essential for experiencing the full benefits of solitude. By cultivating self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-care, you can develop a strong and healthy relationship with yourself, which in turn enhances your ability to enjoy and thrive in solitude. Chapter 5: Finding Joy in Solitude. In Chapter 5, the book explores how to find joy and fulfillment in solitude. While society often associates happiness with social interaction and external achievements, the book argues that true joy can be found within ourselves, independent of external circumstances. The chapter begins by discussing the concept of inner contentment, which is a sense of satisfaction and peace that comes from within. Inner contentment is not dependent on external factors such as wealth, status, or relationships. Instead, it arises from a deep connection with oneself and a sense of alignment with one's values and purpose. One of the ways to cultivate inner contentment is through mindfulness and presence. The book explains that by focusing on the present moment and fully engaging in whatever we are doing, we can experience a sense of joy and fulfillment that is not tied to external outcomes. Whether we are taking a walk in nature, enjoying a cup of tea, or simply sitting in silence, we can find happiness in the simple pleasures of life. The chapter also explores the idea of flow, which is a state of deep immersion and enjoyment in an activity. Flow occurs when we are fully absorbed in something that challenges us and engages our skills, such as a creative project, physical activity, or a hobby. The book encourages readers to find activities that bring them into a state of flow, as these activities can provide a deep sense of joy and fulfillment in solitude. Another way to find joy in solitude is by embracing gratitude. The book suggests practicing gratitude by regularly reflecting on the positive aspects of your life and expressing appreciation for the things that bring you joy. By focusing on what you have rather than what you lack, you can cultivate a more positive and fulfilling outlook on life. The chapter also discusses the importance of finding meaning and purpose in solitude. The book explains that when we have a sense of purpose, we are more likely to experience fulfillment and joy in our lives, even when we are alone. The book encourages readers to explore their passions, interests, and values, and to find ways to align their actions with their sense of purpose. The key takeaway from this chapter is that joy and fulfillment can be found in solitude when we cultivate inner contentment, embrace mindfulness, and pursue activities that bring us into a state of flow. By focusing on the present moment, practicing gratitude, and finding meaning and purpose in our lives, we can experience a deep sense of happiness that is independent of external circumstances. Chapter 6: The Healing Power of Alone Time. Chapter 6 delves into the healing power of alone time and how solitude can be a powerful tool for emotional and psychological healing. The book explains that in the quiet and stillness of solitude, we can create a space for self-reflection, emotional processing, and healing. The chapter begins by discussing how alone time allows us to process our emotions and experiences. When we are constantly surrounded by others or distracted by external stimuli, it can be difficult to fully acknowledge and process our emotions. Solitude provides the space and time needed to sit with our feelings, explore them, and understand them on a deeper level. The book also explores how solitude can help us heal from past traumas or unresolved emotional wounds. In the quiet of solitude, we can create a safe space to revisit and process these experiences without the distractions or judgments of others. By allowing ourselves to fully feel and express our emotions, we can begin to heal and release the pain that we may have been carrying for years. Another aspect of the healing power of solitude is the opportunity to reconnect with our true selves. The book explains that in the busyness of everyday life, we often lose touch with our authentic selves and become disconnected from our inner wisdom and intuition. Alone time allows us to quiet the noise of the outside world and tune in to our inner voice, helping us to gain clarity and insight into our true desires, needs, and values. The chapter also discusses the role of self-compassion in healing. The book encourages readers to practice self-compassion by treating themselves with kindness, understanding, and patience during difficult times. By offering ourselves the same care and support that we would offer to a loved one, we can create a nurturing environment for healing and growth. Key takeaway from this chapter is that solitude can be a powerful tool for emotional and psychological healing. By creating a space for self-reflection, emotional processing, and self-compassion, we can heal from past wounds, reconnect with our true selves, and cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace and well-being. Chapter 7: Navigating Relationships as an Independent Person. Chapter 7 explores the challenges and rewards of navigating relationships as an independent person who values solitude. The book emphasizes that while relationships are an important and fulfilling part of life, it is equally important to maintain a sense of independence and to prioritize alone time for self-care and personal growth. The chapter begins by discussing the importance of setting boundaries in relationships. The book explains that setting boundaries is essential for maintaining a healthy balance between social interaction and solitude. Boundaries help protect your personal space and time, allowing you to recharge and focus on your own needs without feeling overwhelmed or drained by the demands of others. The book provides practical tips for setting and communicating boundaries in relationships. For example, it suggests being clear and direct about your need for alone time and explaining to your loved ones why it is important for your well-being. It also recommends finding ways to compromise and negotiate so that both your needs and the needs of your loved ones are met. Another important aspect of navigating relationships as an independent person is cultivating self-sufficiency. The book explains that self-sufficiency means being able to rely on yourself for your happiness, fulfillment, and emotional well-being. While relationships can provide love and support, it is important not to become overly dependent on others for validation or self-worth. The chapter also discusses how to maintain meaningful connections with others while prioritizing solitude. The book encourages readers to seek out relationships that are supportive, respectful, and aligned with their values. It suggests focusing on quality over quantity and nurturing deep and meaningful connections rather than seeking out superficial social interaction. The key takeaway from this chapter is that navigating relationships as an independent person requires setting boundaries, cultivating self-sufficiency, and seeking out meaningful connection. By maintaining a balance between social interaction and solitude, you can build healthy and fulfilling relationships while also prioritizing your own well-being. Chapter 8: Turning Loneliness into Creativity. In Chapter 8, the book explores how to transform feelings of loneliness into creative expression. The book argues that solitude can be a powerful catalyst for creativity, providing the time, space, and focus needed to explore new ideas, express yourself, and bring your creative visions to life. The chapter begins by discussing the connection between solitude and creativity. Many of history's greatest artists, writers, and thinkers have found that their most profound insights and creative breakthroughs occurred during periods of solitude. When we are alone, our minds are free to wander, explore new ideas, and make connections that might not be possible in the midst of social interaction. The book encourages readers to embrace their alone time as an opportunity to tap into their creative potential. It suggests setting aside regular periods of solitude to engage in creative activities such as writing, painting, music, or any other form of artistic expression that resonates with you. By dedicating time to your creative pursuits, you can turn loneliness into a productive and fulfilling experience. The chapter also discusses the importance of experimentation and play in the creative process. The book explains that creativity thrives in an environment where you feel free to explore new ideas without fear of judgment or failure. It encourages readers to approach their creative projects with a sense of curiosity and openness, and to allow themselves to make mistakes and learn from them. Another key aspect of turning loneliness into creativity is finding inspiration in solitude. The book suggests using your alone time to connect with nature, explore new environments, or simply observe the world around you. By immersing yourself in the present moment and paying attention to the details of your surroundings, you can find inspiration in the simple pleasures of life. The key takeaway from this chapter is that solitude can be a powerful source of creativity and inspiration. By embracing your alone time and dedicating it to creative pursuits, you can transform feelings of loneliness into a productive and fulfilling experience and bring your creative visions to life. Chapter 9. Cultivating Inner Peace. Chapter 9 focuses on the importance of cultivating inner peace as a foundation for a fulfilling and meaningful life. The book explains that inner peace is not just the absence of conflict or stress, but a deep sense of calm, contentment, and harmony that comes from within. The chapter begins by discussing the role of mindfulness and meditation in cultivating inner peace. The book explains that mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment, and being fully aware of your thoughts, emotions, and sensations. By practicing mindfulness, you can develop a greater sense of self-awareness and learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Meditation is another powerful tool for cultivating inner peace. The book encourages readers to establish a regular meditation practice, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. Meditation helps to quiet the mind, reduce stress, and create a sense of inner calm and clarity. Over time, a regular meditation practice can help you develop a more peaceful and balanced mindset, allowing you to navigate life's challenges, greater ease and resilience. The chapter also explores the importance of letting go of negative thoughts and emotions in order to cultivate inner peace. The book explains that holding on to anger, resentment, or worry can create inner turmoil and prevent you from experiencing true peace. It encourages readers to practice forgiveness both toward themselves and others, and to let go of any thoughts or beliefs that are causing them distress. Another key aspect of cultivating inner peace is living in alignment with your values and purpose. The book explains that when your actions are in harmony with your values and your sense of purpose, you are more likely to experience a deep sense of fulfillment and peace. It encourages readers to take the time to reflect on their values and to make choices that are in alignment with them. The key takeaway from this chapter is that cultivating inner peace requires mindfulness, meditation, letting go of negativity, and living in alignment with your values. By developing a regular practice of mindfulness and meditation, and by making choices that are in harmony with your true self, you can create a foundation of inner peace that will support you in all areas of your life. Chapter 10. The Journey to Self-Love. In the final chapter, the book explores the journey to self-love and how embracing solitude can help you develop a deep and lasting love for yourself. The book explains that self-love is not just about feeling good about yourself, but about accepting yourself fully, treating yourself with kindness and compassion, and honoring your true needs and desires. The chapter begins by discussing the importance of self-acceptance in the journey to self-love. The book explains that self-acceptance involves embracing all aspects of yourself, including your strengths and weaknesses, your successes and failures. It means recognizing that you are worthy of love and respect just as you are, without needing to change or conform to others' expectations. The book provides practical exercises for developing self-acceptance, such as journaling, self-reflection, and affirmations. By regularly taking the time to reflect on your thoughts and experiences, and by affirming your worth and value, you can develop a deeper sense of self-acceptance and self-love. Another key aspect of self-love is self-care. The book explains that self-care involves taking intentional actions to nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. This might include activities such as exercise, healthy eating, relaxation, and pursuing hobbies that bring you joy. By prioritizing self-care, you can demonstrate love and respect for yourself and ensure that your needs are met. The chapter also discusses the importance of setting boundaries in the journey to self-love. The book explains that setting boundaries is essential for protecting your personal space and time, and for ensuring that your relationships are healthy and supportive. By setting clear boundaries and communicating them to others, you can create a safe and nurturing environment for yourself. The book emphasizes that the journey to self-love is a lifelong process that requires patience, practice, and commitment, It encourages readers to approach the journey with a sense of curiosity and openness, and to be gentle and compassionate with themselves along the way. The key takeaway from this chapter is that the journey to self-love requires self-acceptance, self-care, and setting boundaries. By embracing solitude and taking the time to develop a deep and lasting love for yourself, you can create a foundation of self-love that will support you in all areas of your life. Conclusion: Thriving in Solitude. In the conclusion of The Art of Being Alone, the book reflects on the journey of embracing solitude and how it can lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. The book emphasizes that solitude is not something to be feared or avoided, but rather an opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and inner peace. The conclusion encourages readers to continue practicing the principles of solitude that they have learned throughout the book, such as self-awareness, self-acceptance, mindfulness, and self-care. It reminds readers that the journey to thriving in solitude is a lifelong process, and that it requires ongoing practice and commitment. The book also emphasizes that thriving in solitude does not mean isolating yourself from others, but rather finding a healthy balance between social interaction and alone time. By maintaining this balance, you can build meaningful relationships while also nurturing your relationship with yourself. The key takeaway from the conclusion is that by embracing solitude and developing a deep connection with yourself, you can create a life that is rich in meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Thriving in solitude is not about being alone, but about being whole, being at peace with yourself and your life, no matter the circumstance. Did you like this summary? Click the like button now to support our channel, and click subscribe if you want to get notified each time we post a new book.